Thank you very much. Now, before we are going straight into what Mr. Omoyele Sowore said, and the DSS coming out to tell us that he is in their custody when he was rounded up actually in his house, according to reports at 1:25 a.m. on Saturday morning. We want to listen to Mr. Peter Afunaya, the spokesperson for the Department of State Services, giving his own speech and why Mr. Sowore should be rounded up before we go into our discussion. Do watch this.
If we are operating as a responsible security organization and someone is calling for revolution in Nigeria, and what is revolution? Primarily, it means a revolt, it means an insurrection, it means insurgency, it means forceful takeover of government. And this is a democracy. Nigeria operates a democratic system. Nigeria, we all are aware, is not a banana republic and cannot suddenly be made one. Nigeria is respected in the Committee of Nations. Nigeria is not just the giant of Africa, but the pride of Africa. So the DSS would not just sit by and watch someone or his groups or cohorts would want to rise and threaten the peace, unity, constitutionalism of our beloved country. Whether Sowore is with the DSS or not, the answer is emphatic, is in the affirmative. Yes, he's with us. And why is he with us? He has crossed the lines. He has threatened public safety. Sowore has, as a matter of fact, threatened the peaceful coexistence, social harmony of Nigeria. And there is apprehension, there is anxiety. Citizens, residents are worried as to what will happen next. And in fact, we want to use this opportunity to assure law-abiding Nigerians, friends of Nigeria, citizens of the world, and indeed people of the world, that come tomorrow, 5th of August, 2019, that there will be absolute peace in Nigeria, nothing will happen, there won't be any revolution, the government has been elected democratically, will be in place.
Welcome back. So that's the DSS spokesperson, Mr. Peter Afunaya. Barrister Jide Ologun, I'm sure you listened to him and heard what he said. Mr. Omoyele Sowore is driving the country to the precipice by virtue of his utterances. At least that's the interpretation of what Mr. Peter Afunaya said. How do you weigh this side by side with what actually happened?
I mean, the DSS, as an organ of the government, has the mandate of ensuring that the national security is protected and defended against internal threats, and of course to facilitate law enforcement in collaboration with the agencies and ensure that the criminal justice is effective. So on the part of arresting him, so to say, I think that is preventive, because according to the spokesperson, people are apprehensive. It's likely to throw up some tantrums in the country, and don't forget that we still have that of El Zazaki. But having said that, when you talk about treason is a criminal offense against the state that threatens that, to dislodge the sovereignty of the state. But we cannot even establish that now, because that has to be in, and when you talk of felony in law, felony is like the highest level of crime. And now let's pick the word revolution, because that is the case now. Revolution now. What is revolution? Revolution is a constant issue. The Britons came to Nigeria, and they handled Nigeria as a protectorate from around 1900 till we got our political independence on October 1, 1960. And it was a revolutionary movement that led to the attainment of our independence on October 1, 1960. and we became a republic in 1963. And another revolution came, a coup d'etat, in 1960 to dislodge this process. And so far we have had about 4 republics. And life is dynamic. In my life, I have had points of revolution. On my 13th year or so, or 14th year of law practice, I asked myself, I was enjoying it, I thank God for his blessings, is this all you can do with your life? My answer was no, and there was a personal revolution. I went back to study another course in school. So right now, Sowore and those who are forming the nucleus fountain of this movement are saying, one of the questions being asked is that, should Nigeria be one of the poorest countries in the world? Let's ask these questions. I mean, in the statement of the spokesperson of DSS, he also mentioned it, that there should be national unity. Is there national unity in this country now? That there should be peaceful coexistence. Are we peacefully coexisting? And that, I mean, these elements, are they there? Elements of good governance, transparency, responsiveness, inclusion, justice, fairness, prosperity. And these are questions. So what Sowore is doing is projecting what is in the minds of many Nigerians who are probably afraid to speak out.
Okay, just a moment, Barrister Ologun.